for the last 50 or 60 years, we've all been operating under this paradigm that came from the research of a doctor who basically cherry-picked a lot of his data and massaged a lot of his data to prove, in his estimation, that saturated fat and animal fat was bad for human beings. And that's actually another chapter in the book about saturated fat and how that myth got started, or how that lie got started. But basically, the human body needs saturated fat, good quality fats, because as we said earlier, every cell membrane in your body has to have cholesterol to function properly. Without it, your cells won't function properly, and that can lead to disease on a cellular level. In the same respect, your brain and your nerves are made of fat. They have to have fat to function properly. Without it, you're gonna have neurological disease. And so how can we tell somebody, how does it even make common sense to say, oh, your brain and all your cell membranes are made of the components of saturated fat, but you shouldn't eat saturated fat, it's bad for you.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. But the body can build its own saturated fats, right? So you don't necessarily have to eat it.
It can build fats, but it's much better to just eat good, natural, high-quality saturated fat.
But isn't it, I mean, now I'm just playing the devil's advocate, but isn't it going to raise your cholesterol and that's going to give you heart disease, right? That's the idea.
That's a great question. So total cholesterol, we thought for decades, was a marker of an increased risk in heart attack and stroke. And so that's why so many doctors told this lie to their patient. Stop eating saturated fat or it'll give you a heart attack, right? Or if you insist on eating saturated fat, I'll have to give you this medication that'll lower your cholesterol so that you won't have a heart attack or a stroke. Doctors really don't care what your total cholesterol is. We cared about cholesterol because we thought erroneously that it was a marker for an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. And so now when you go back and you actually look at all the meaningful research that's been done, saturated fat has nothing to do with your risk of heart attack and stroke. And so even pretending that eating saturated fat or eating cholesterol is going to increase your risk of heart attack and stroke is silly. None of the research bears it out.